Hello. Today we'll be going over dynamic memory allocation with me, Space Tatum. Thank you for coming back to another video. So let's get right into it. So what is dynamic memory allocation? Dynamic memory allocation refers to the process of allocating memory during the execution of a program, as opposed to the compile time. It allows programs to request memory dynamically from the operating systems while they are running, enabling them to adapt to various memory requirements. And using this, we see that we have four of our keywords or four words that we use, and they're actually, I wouldn't say dumbed down. They're actually reworded. So we see malloc, which is short for memory allocation, and calloc, which is short for continuous allocation, reloc, which is short for reallocation, and free, which just frees them all up, frees the malloc, calloc, and the reloc. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about these four things. Malloc, number one, the memory allocation. It allocates a specific number of bytes of memory and returns a pointer to the beginning of the allocated memory block. It takes one argument and the number of bytes to allocate. So as you see, we have us a little example here. So we have our pointer, and we see our pointer, and it's set to it, and then so here in the malloc we see that we have that this statement allocates memory for 5 integers. Calloc number two, which I also told you, which is the continuous allocation. It allocates memory for an array of elements and initializes them to 0 and returns a pointer to the beginning of the allocated memory block. It takes two arguments, the number of elements and the size of the element. So as you see here, we have the size of the element and the number of the element. So in this case, the calloc, it allocates the memory for the integers and initializes them all to 0. And then we have reloc. Reloc, which I already told you, is the reallocation, and it changes the size of the previous allocated memory block, and it takes two arguments, a pointer to the previous allocated memory block, and a new size in the bytes. It returns a pointer to the beginning of the reallocated memory block. So as you see here in our example, it's doing the same thing. And I also put a little thing. It changes the size of the allocated memory block to accommodate 10 integers. The free is just how it sounds. Free, it frees up the memory block that is previously allocated using malloc, calloc, or reloc, and it takes a single argument, a pointer to be the memory block and to be freed. So as you can see, here is the example here. And for the free, always, 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 it is always important to remember to free the dynamic allocated memory when it is no longer needed to avoid memory leaks, which can cause insufficient memory usage or even program crashes, which is terrible. So here we have a program that we're going to program on our IDE. So I want us all to go to our IDE. So as we can see, our program asks us, it says, you are asked to write a program to keep track of people attending your high school reunion. You have no way of knowing how many people are coming back for the morning of the event, and you need to deliver your program 2 days before the event. So you decide to use dynamic memory allocation, and for the person at the registration table to enter the number of guests, your program runs as follows. So as you see, please enter the number of guests. We have 65. Please enter that'll be a lot of guests for using 65. So and then it says each name entered has to be saved in an array guess that your program declares dynamically and populates as the names are being entered. Write the corresponding program. So let's get started. As you can see, we are at the IDE. So let's go ahead and code this program. I'm gonna have it sped up for y'all. So just watch me, and I'm gonna go ahead and explain it using comments. As you can see, we have our list of names using dynamic memory allocation. And here you can see we use the dynamic uh, memory allocation. And then here we freed the dynamic memory allocation. Hey, if you like the content and you want to see more, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell for more post notifications to see more.